financial advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And good evening, Hampton Roads. Welcome to another edition of Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, coming to you live like I do every second and fourth Tuesday of the month to dialogue with you, take your calls. If you have a question or comment relating to your own personal financial situation or anything I'm talking about here tonight, I'd love to hear from you. Jump on the phone lines, give me a call, 627-7979. All we need is your first name, city you're calling from, and no matter what I'm talking about, if it's important to you, then it's important to me. We'll get you right on air. 627-7979. Wealthway Financial Advisors is the proud sponsor of Dollars and Common Sense. We are an independent registered investment advisor, which means we're legally held to a fiduciary standard to put our clients' interest ahead of our own in any business dealing or recommendation that we make, and that's the way it should be when you work with a financial advisor. As the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, we integrate expert investment management with customized ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. So by design, we can't work with everyone. We work with a relatively small group of high net worth individuals, but that's one of the reasons we feel so strongly about coming here every second and fourth Tuesday. That's to reach out and help as many people in the Hampton Roads listening area that we can achieve your measure of financial success. Because it is a core belief at Wealthway Advisors that the overwhelming majority of people in this country have the opportunity for financial security if they choose it. And it is a choice because it takes some time, it takes some effort, and it takes some knowledge. We are here to help. You got to take that first step, though. Pick up the phone, give me a call, 627-7979. Whether you want to talk about anything having to do with the investment markets, the economy, insurance products like life insurance, health insurance, property casualty, taxes, tax planning, tax reduction strategies, retirement planning, retirement plans, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, IRAs, Roth IRAs, mortgage options, Social Security claiming strategies, or estate planning, wills and trusts, all that and more falls under the umbrella of personal finance. We are here to discuss tonight, 627-7979. All right, tonight we're going to talk about pre-retirement planning and how to set yourself up for success. So it is a big component of our business, our practice, and our profession that we help people plan for and shepherd them through and into a successful retirement outcome. You know, it's for most people, it's something they do only once in their life, and it's one of, if not the biggest, financial decisions that one has to make. It's the period of time when we go from what for most of us is a stable, reliable, punctual paycheck that somebody else is giving to us in exchange for our hard work, dedication, labor, and intelligence, and that we are now responsible for our own sort of paycheck, that we have to live off our own resources, our own savings, our own investments, and maybe there's a small pension. Certainly Social Security is available to most of us who have been in the workforce. But it's the jumping off of the cliff feeling, a lot of people describe it, or jumping into the deep end, a little bit of the fear of the unknown. And of course, at Wealthway, we do this several times a year across our client base and help people make this transition. But like I said, for most other people, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. So what are some things that you can do to prepare for and set yourself up for a successful retirement? And I mean, probably if you're in the 1 to 3 year zone prior to retirement, then I think a lot of these ideas will resonate with you. You'll be able to take some good value from some of the concepts that we have learned professionally through the years of working with hundreds of clients and helping just about as many through the retirement process. So I wanted to start out by talking about some of the sort of the softer side of retirement planning. We'll get into some numbers and some financial aspects later, but I think the softer side of retirement planning and going through the retirement process is often overlooked or is given lip service a lot of other places. But to me, born from this professional experience, it's more important in many cases than the financial aspects of planning for retirement. So what am I talking about? What does this mean? Well, a lot of times in this country especially, we kind of have an idea that work is inherently bad and leisure is inherently good. Like, everyone complains about Mondays coming and I got to go to work and, I don't like my boss or my coworkers or my customers and all the hassles that go along with work. And sure, there are, wherever people get together, there are hassles, put it that way. And then there's the sense that, if I didn't have to work ever again, I just could lay on a beach every day and listen to the waves and drink a beer, then, wouldn't my life be great? Well, no, I don't think that work is inherently bad and leisure is inherently good. I think too much of either is inherently bad. Too much work is not good for you, and too much leisure is also not good for you. Out of work comes a purpose, a sense of contribution, a sense of belonging, the pride that comes from earning money, doing something with your mind and your body and your talents in exchange for money gives you a lot of pride and self-worth. And while certainly we all have our things that irritate us about work environment, but in the big grand scheme of things, work is, I believe, a necessity for the human condition, and that too much leisure is detrimental to the human condition. You have no purpose, you have no direction. If you have a source of income that you didn't earn, say through inheritance, well, you don't have the pride of earning that money. You tend not to respect that money as much. So too much leisure can cause its own different set of problems. And when we go from the workforce into retirement, then we may be trading one set of problems for another if we're not careful with how we structure and manage our retirement or that leisure time. So here are some ideas that we've learned through the years working through our client base. So first off, through work, we get an identity and purpose, right? When we retire, then we lose that professional identity. And many people derive a sense of self-worth from their careers. What you do is meaningful. It makes a difference. You're contributing to society, the betterment of society in some way. But when you retire, that can lead to a feeling of loss or a lack of purpose. So then you've got to find new meaning. How are you going to spend all of this free time when every day is Saturday? How are you going to fill your day meaningfully? So what we've learned is there's no one single right answer, but a lot of successful retirements we see from our clients, they combine a variety of activities: volunteering, mentoring, hobbies, learning something new, taking classes at TCC, maybe teaching classes at TCC or in a seminar type setting. Certainly travel is a big part of a lot of people's retirement plans, and travel requires a lot of brain power, planning, adaptability, thinking on your feet in maybe a foreign country where you don't know the language. Very stimulating, sometimes a little scary, but that's a useful pursuit as well. So you can't just have something to retire from. you have to have something to retire to if you want that retirement to be successful. And then also from work, we get a fair amount of our social connections. Work often provides daily forced social contact, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, but daily social contact. And retirement can lead to isolation if it's not proactively addressed. You don't have a place to go every day. You don't have coworkers that you have to interact with every day. And you might be by yourself and in the house for extended periods of time. Not a healthy arrangement. So plan how to stay connected with friends, family, and community. A lot of times we see our clients join clubs or groups, affinity groups, book clubs, travel clubs, motorcycle clubs. Maybe there's the Elks Club that you want to get involved in some more. Masons, maybe take a leadership position in some of those clubs. Fill up the time with other valuable active pursuits. All right, we're going to take a short break right here. If you want to jump in on the conversation, if you have any questions or comments about your own financial situation, give me a call, 627-7979. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS.
Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And welcome back to Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, the president of Wealthway Financial Advisors, the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, where we integrate expert investment management with customized ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. For more information about us, look us up online at wealthwayadvisors.com. All right, tonight we're talking about pre-retirement planning. For those of you in maybe the 1 to 3 year window prior to retirement, I think you find a lot of value in some of the ideas and concepts that we're talking about here tonight. So, I started talking about some of the sort of softer side of retirement planning and some of the things that a lot of times people don't consider because they're so focused on the money aspect of things. And that's important, absolutely. But we've learned a lot about life through our clients and how to effectively navigate the retirement process. And I'm here to share some of those ideas with you. So there's also, a mental and emotional health aspect to work and transitioning to retirement. And that transition from the stability, the routine of work, the purpose of work can bring some unexpected emotions. And some of them that we've heard clients report: relief, obviously. Well, don't have to get up at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to get to work and fight traffic and get to work. Okay, thank goodness for that. But also anxiety. Oh, what do I do now? Who am I? What do I do with my time? I feel like I should be doing something productive, yet here I am watching daytime TV. This doesn't feel right. Boredom. You're the maker of your own schedule now. You're the one who sets your own agenda. If you don't proactively do that, no one's going to do it for you. So sometimes people can find themselves sort of adrift and lost. And so much so that sometimes people get depressed in retirement because of retirement, because they didn't go into retirement with a plan. They had something to retire from, but they didn't figure out what they were going to retire to. So watch your mental and emotional health as you transition from work to retirement. Then, of course, some changes to your lifestyle and routine. The daily structure that you have when you have a job, the rhythm of a work day, up at 6 a.m., shower, out the door by 7, maybe at the office at 8, o'clock when all is said and done, leaving at 5 o'clock, the lunch places that you go to that you like to frequent, going with your work buddies, hanging out. You got that routine, that structure. And so now there is no structure. You're going to have to establish your own. And some people are not good at that. Some people need sort of someone or something to impose a structure on them, or else they're not good at creating one for themselves. And, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, but we've learned that some people just aren't good at doing that. They're great at doing what they're told to do, but they're not so great at figuring out what they need to do when someone's not telling them what to do. So you got to establish new daily or weekly routines that can provide a sense of stability and purpose. And so one of the most successful sort of structures or solutions that we have found to the retirement process is not full retirement. I call it like partial retirement. And so it's when you go from full-time work to part-time work at your present employer, if your employer will allow it. So think about it. You take a long-tenured, experienced employee who has a lot of institutional and corporate knowledge about the inner workings of a company, and instead of just saying goodbye and they ride off into the sunset with all that knowledge, no, they stay around in a part-time capacity. So they still are available. They're still a resource. They're almost like a consultant to the company. And sure, I'm sure there's some still daily tasks and responsibilities that have to be completed. But this is like the best win-win situation that we have seen yet. So the employer maintains that valuable resource in the employee. The employee goes from the full-time to the part-time status. For many employers, that means no overtime, no benefits, no vacation time. So the employer still gets a valuable employee, but at a much reduced cost. And the employee gets much more free time, much more flexibility to their schedule, still retains the opportunity to earn some money. So it's not all or nothing. It's not jumping off a cliff or jumping into the deep end. They're still earning some decent income, but often given roles with much less responsibility and stress. So all of a sudden, a lot of the daily pressures for the employee vanish because they're not that day-to-day employee who's going to be called on to intensely deliver whatever work product that they're responsible for. And so the employee, it's almost like a weight is lifted off the employee's shoulders. And then maybe the employee stays in that part-time status for 2 to 3, 4 or 5 years. Sometimes we've seen that. And because it's healthy for the employee, it's beneficial to the employer, and it's sort of a glide path out of the workforce and then into a full retirement. Because with the added with the added free time of the part-time status of the employee, they get to explore the other interests they might have, the other hobbies, the other mentoring opportunities, the travel situations that they want to undertake. And so it's instead of an all or nothing, it's this transition from work to part-time work to then retirement that we have seen greatly benefit the employee and the employer if you can arrange it with your employer. And of course, not all employers will allow that, but if you think your employer would be open to that and it's of interest to you, I strongly encourage you to have that conversation. Again, probably the most successful arrangement that we have seen as people transition from workforce to retirement. Then we have some issues around relationship dynamics. This is a good one that not everyone considers. So all of a sudden, if you have a spouse, then both of you are spending a lot more time in the same house during retirement. And this can be both a joy and a challenge. And it may require renegotiating roles and expectations. And oftentimes in traditional marriages where the husband was mainly in the workforce and the wife may have been a homemaker and a stay-at-home mom and help raise the kids and manage the household, once the man starts spending a lot more time in the wife's domain where she has everything set up and organized and functioning properly, and then he comes in with all his worldly work ideas on how we're going to do things around here, as you can imagine, friction can result. So be careful about that. All right, got to pause right here for the news. Be back in just a few minutes. 627-7979. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS.
Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And welcome back to Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, the president at Wealthway Financial Advisors, the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, where we integrate expert investment management with customized, ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. For more information about us, you can check us out online at wealthwayadvisors.com. Once there, you can request an information packet to find out what it's like to work with us, or sign up for a free quarterly newsletter at wealthwayadvisors.com. Just go to the Request a Consultation page, put your name and address in the dialog boxes, select the appropriate drop-down menu, and we'll get that information out to you later on this week. And that's all we will use your name and address for, is just to send you the information that you request. Or if you have some nuanced questions, want to speak to a live human being, give us a call at the office, 456-2200. Want to remind everybody, our next live show will be in 2 weeks on Tuesday, July 22nd. But if you can't catch us live every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, get this show as a podcast. Search for Dollars and Common Sense wherever you get your podcasts. Download us, take us with you wherever you go, and listen at your convenience. And for those of you into social media, we have a presence on Facebook and LinkedIn. Search for Wealthway Financial Advisors, hit that like or follow button, and then once every week or two, we put up an interesting and informative financial planning post to keep you engaged in the process. All right, 627-7979 if you want to give me a call on the studio line. Tonight, we're talking about pre-retirement planning, and I've been spending a lot of time on some of the softer side of pre-retirement planning, because my professional experience, that is every bit, if not more important than the financial side of retirement planning. And I was talking about some of the relationship dynamics that choose when maybe the main breadwinner retires and is now spending full time in the house with the other occupant, namely the spouse, in the house. And so sometimes that can cause some toes to be stepped on, some sharp elbows to be levied, and it takes some getting used to. So just know that that's a factor that should be talked through. And then also, some other relationship dynamics is you might take on some new roles. We're seeing this more often, like a caregiver for grandchildren or aging parents. So for a lot of people hitting retirement age, 60, 65, 70, a lot of them still have their parents alive, but in a more elderly state, and so they may need some form of care. Or a lot of times you're also at the grandparent stage in that age bracket as well. And so a lot of low-cost child care, low-cost child caring labor may be in your future if you have grandkids. And certainly a lot of that is voluntary and can provide a lot of gratification and joy to not just care for your grandkids, but also obviously help raise them in a certain amount with the wisdom and knowledge that you can impart, and those are memories that those grandkids will have for the rest of their life. So sometimes family dynamics, relationship dynamics will change. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the not so good. But know that these will be out there as you transition into retirement. Then there's some considerations around location and environment. So where to live. So now that you're no longer tethered to a company for a paycheck and you are more or less living off of yourself, your own means of support, you can live wherever you want to live. So consider proximity to family, climate preferences, healthcare access. That's a big one. I know some people who have relocated to Puerto Rico for lifestyle reasons, which is fabulous. I've been there several times through the years. Fabulous, from a weather standpoint when there aren't hurricanes, and also in many respects, going to Puerto Rico is kind of almost like going to North Carolina. The street signs are the same. The money is the same. You don't even have to change your cell phone. You don't have to do anything different with that. But healthcare, access to healthcare in Puerto Rico is not as reliable and dependable as it is here in the United States. So access to healthcare is a big one. A lot of times people want to move to the mountains in a rural area. Beautiful lifestyle in small town mountain America, but not really easy access to healthcare in some of those communities as well. And then, of course, community amenities. So things like cultural events like museums and plays and symphony and concerts and other things that you might enjoy and want to do. The more remote you are, the harder it is, obviously, to get to those places. Or alternatively, if you're passionate about those things, you want to be in a large metropolitan urban area, then you want to factor that in as well. And so so in addition to making a major life transition from work to retirement, you may also be considering another major life decision about where to live and making a move and maybe uprooting yourself and part of your family from where you spent decades to a completely new and different area. Exciting, for sure, but also a little scary going into, again, another somewhat unknown. So these decisions can have emotional as well as practical implications. Just recognize that that's on the horizon. And then finally, on the softer side of retirement, pre-retirement planning, the ones that most of us all kind of think about when we think about retirement, bucket list and travel, right? So trying to fulfill all those unfulfilled dreams. Retirement is a great time to revisit goals or dreams that were put on hold because you were grinding away for a paycheck. Now, I say that facetiously because, like I said earlier in the show, I think there's a lot of validation that we get out of work, whether we recognize it or not, until it's gone. And then maybe all those frustrations of the work environment weren't really so bad after all when you have almost nothing to fill the void in retirement. So retirement is that opportunity to start planning for all those things you kind of had in the back of your mind that you might want to do one day, but you never had the freedom, maybe the money, or the opportunity to do. I know a couple people that are very interested in walking the El Camino Trail, which is sort of like the religious Appalachian Trail in Europe that goes through Portugal, Spain, and France, I think. But it's, you walk through these small towns and villages, you sleep in hostels or hotels. You will not lack for food or drink or shelter. And then it ends at a Catholic Church shrine. And so, that's something that you pretty much can't do while you have a full-time job. Or just, hey, the Appalachian Trail we have in our backyard right here on the East Coast of the United States. That will take 5 to 6 months to do if you want to do the whole thing end to end. I've certainly seen people take that on as a bucket list type of event in retirement. And then health and mobility. Consider how your physical condition might affect your ability to travel or pursue certain activities. Yes, and this is very underrated, and my final point on the softer side. In addition to staying mentally engaged after work and into retirement, you need to stay physically active as well. So some of the best things you can do, have a standing date with a workout buddy at the gym every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m., yoga classes, a group workout classes, move, get out and walk, have a standing walking date with somebody in the neighborhood that every morning at 8 a.m. you go for a 30-minute walk, and then you come back and have breakfast. But you have to move. You have to stay active. Otherwise, the body will atrophy. And when the body atrophies, you slow down, you stay isolated in the house, and then you get sucked into daytime TV, which is a soul sucker. You've got, and then the brain starts to atrophy. So it's all connected. Mind and body have to stay active in order to be healthy. When one of them is not used enough, the other one soon follows. We've seen it in our practice happen in the past. It hasn't happened in a long time because we're much more educated about it, and we coach our clients on this. If we suspect that they're not getting enough either mental or physical stimulation, then we start ramping up our contacts with the client to help encourage them to do that. So know that maintaining your physical health is very important at that stage. And, that's another thing that we neglect that sometimes when we're working 50, 55, 60 hours a week. There just isn't time to exercise as much. Well, guess what? You got plenty of time now once you're in retirement, so take advantage of it. Get back into shape, lose the excess pounds. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll look better. You look better, you feel better. You move better. Older people are very susceptible to falling down, and a fall leads to serious, sometimes life consequence inhibiting, injuries. So stay active, stay healthy. All right, we're going to pause right here for a final break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. You're listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS.
Financial advisors, planning for life. Wealthway Financial Advisors, planning for life.
And welcome back to Dollars and Common Sense, your local source for objective, unbiased financial advice. I'm certified financial planner Kevin Zivna, the president at Wealthway Financial Advisors, the premier financial planning firm in Hampton Roads, where we integrate expert investment management with customized ongoing financial planning advice to help our clients answer life's big financial questions and enhance their quality of life. For more information about us, you can look us up online at wealthwayadvisors.com Once there, you can request an information packet to find out what it's like to work with us, or sign up for a free quarterly newsletter. Just put your name and address in the dialog boxes, select the appropriate drop-down menu, and we'll get that information out to you later on this week. And that's all we will use your name and address for, is just to send you the information that you request. I want to remind everybody we'll be back in 2 weeks, Tuesday, July 22nd at 6 p.m. as usual. But if you can't catch us live every second and fourth Tuesday, get the show as a podcast. Search for Dollars and Common Sense wherever you get your podcasts, and you can download us and take us with you on the road. Okay, tonight we're talking about pre-retirement planning. I went through many of the softer side of pre-retirement planning, which I think is as important or more important than the financial. But let's, in the time we have left, go through some of the financial issues to consider before retirement. And these are some of the biggies here that I know have long-range implications. So how about when you retire, will you receive a pension? And if so, then very big, important decisions to consider. There may be multiple payout options, such as single life, joint life, or lump sum payouts on a pension. And each one has their own pros and cons. And there is not necessarily a perfect answer on what method to receive the pension. A lot of it depends on your longevity, and if we knew your expiration date, then we could give the perfect answer to what type of distribution plan to take from the pension. But single life usually means on your life, the pension owner's life, so as long as you live, you will get that pension. But if you only live 1 year after retirement and you have a spouse who is dependent on you for that income, then that single life pension stops when you stop, and the spouse gets nothing. Or it can be on joint life. It could be on both of your life expectancies, so that that income will continue regardless of who passes first. But in exchange for that flexibility, you have to sort of take a pay cut. And the amount you would receive from a joint life pension is less than single life. And then sometimes some pension plans offer a lump sum. So instead of a guaranteed monthly lifetime income stream, you can get the money in one big lump sum and cash. And you can do with that whatever you want. Now, in almost all cases, it should be kept in its tax-protected wrapper, which means it goes from the pension plan into an IRA, gets rolled over into an IRA, and then can be invested for future growth. And then you have the freedom and flexibility to withdraw it from the IRA whenever you choose on your terms. And I have heard it espoused that there is only, while you might have options, there is only one correct choice, and that is the joint life choice. That is not true. That's categorically and objectively not true. That the joint life is the only best option to select a pension. There are plenty of options and situations where a single life pension would be the preferred distribution plan, especially if you have significant outside savings from the pension plan and your surviving spouse doesn't need that income in order to maintain his or her lifestyle. So don't let anyone tell you that there's one right way to select a pension. It's very specific to your individual situation. Okay, then how about, are you retiring early? Then if so, consider that Social Security benefits will be reduced if you earn more than roughly $23,000 and are collecting benefits prior to your full retirement age, which for most of us now is in between 66 and 67. So if you retire early and you make more than roughly $23,000, you're going to take a haircut on those early Social Security benefits. Social Security benefits will be reduced if you collect prior to full retirement age. You can access your 401k penalty-free if you leave your employer after turning 55 under the right conditions. For most retirement plans, like IRAs, 59 and a half is the magic age when you can take withdrawals from those without penalty. From a 401k plan, if structured properly by your employer, you can take your benefits from there out of the plan and spend them beginning at age 55. All right. Here's a biggie. Will you be retiring before age 65 and need health insurance? Well, a lot of people delay their retirement just because of the health insurance, because in this country, we have tied, unfortunately, health insurance to our employers. Instead of getting it independently, like we do our homeowners insurance or our car insurance or our life insurance. No, we get health insurance, for better or for worse, through our employers, most of us anyway. Well, just know that there are options. There have long been options outside of your employer to get health insurance. There's always been an independent insurance marketplace out there. But with the advent of Obamacare and the health exchange, now it's become a little bit more structured and formalized. So if you have financial means, do not stick, and you want to retire, do not think you have to you keep working just for health insurance. There are other ways to get health insurance than through your employer. So, and if you, but also know that if you retire before age 65, you're going to have to get your own health insurance. At age 65, then you become eligible for Medicare. And so if before 65, you can go into the health insurance marketplace, and then you may be eligible for a premium assistance tax credit, which could reduce the amount of that insurance premium to about 8.5% of your household income, at least under current law. Okay. Here's another thing to watch out for. Will your adjusted gross income exceed $106,000 if you're single, or $212,000 if you're married filing joint? Then if so, you will most likely be subject to Medicare IRMA surcharges. And what are Medicare IRMA surcharges? Well, IRMA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amounts. And essentially what it is, it's a surcharge on top of the Medicare premium that you pay based on your income. So we all get Medicare, all got to pay a premium. And if you make too much money, 106, more than 106 for individuals, 212 for jointly, there's going to be additional charges to that Medicare premium. All right, that's all the time I have for tonight. I'll be back in 2 weeks on July 22nd. Until then, I'm Certified Financial Planner Kevin Zivna. You've been listening to Dollars and Common Sense on News Talk 790 WNIS. The preceding program was sponsored and paid for by Wealthway Financial Advisors.